great conversation today. You have to brace yourself, though, because we are having a conversation about fertility. Oh, see, some of you are like, oh, boy. That's exactly why we're doing the show, because so often the conversation about fertility, in vitro fertilization, is not had out loud, but it is baked into the fiber of this show. It feels like yesterday when me and Lil Moses walked out on this stage and I introduced that guy to the world who is now in kindergarten. On this show, one of our episodes, I walked out with the needles that I used daily with my husband, Steven, to become parents. Take a look. These came with pain and tears, and at the end, joy. And so I wanted to share this because all of these went into my body so that I could become a mom, and hopefully a good one. We'll see. I said, we'll see. Well, he's still got all 10 fingers, 10 toes, I guess that's the count. So we have all those things. He's now in the kindergarten. And so over the years since we started this show, we're now in season 6, I've watched the conversation around fertility treatments make headlines. And there's still, though, no shortage of questions. Even if you're not interested in having a child, or you have your children in your empty nest, the innovations around fertility, I think, still is a fascinating conversation. So today, we're gonna go inside the world of infertility like never before. And full disclosure, those needles that I showed there, they're still in my bathroom because my husband can't get rid of them. He feels this attachment. I see clutter. But that's the dynamic of it. I'm like, I've got the kid now, we can move on. He's like, no, but this is how we had the kid. So from the egg freezing boom to skyrocketing male infertility and IVF, we're gonna have this conversation out loud, showing you what it really looks like and separating fact from fiction. Our first guest brought her out loud conversation about fertility to the reality TV world on the Real Housewives of New York. And as a colorful character on the show, just someone with a magnetic personality, her journey, though, was really steeped in the truth about her journey to become a parent. She's fashion publicist, entrepreneur. Real Housewives star Jessel Taank shared last season that she'd gone through 5 rounds of IVF before having her twin boys, Kai and Rio, with her husband, Pavic. Well, now with a new RHONY season underway, Jessel is opening up about something I've never seen someone talk about on TV: transporting her frozen embryos across the country from LA to their home in New York. Take a look.
I have all these frozen embryos in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
I would like to have the girl.
Telling my mom about the IVF journey last year was a big move for me.
There are some things that, like, I've been wanting to tell you. It took me a really long time to get pregnant. My doctor suggested IVF.
Would it be nice if you had spoken to me?
It's just, I don't want to worry you.
It's so liberating to be able to actually openly speak about IVF, because now I can include her in all the planning. I feel like she'll be a good, partner in crime to get me through it.
Sam fam, please welcome to our family, Jessel Taank. Welcome to the show. So you did not tell your mother.
I did.
For 5 years?
Yes, I'm very close with my mother, and I actually was the biggest secret that I kept from her.
Why did you choose to keep that secret? Because obviously she seems like a loving mom.
She's
the relationship
best.
is so close.
She reminds me of you.
Oh, really?
You guys are going.
I'm your mom? Okay.
No. Energy-wise. I mean, the short hair. She's like
it.
Super fashionable and young-spirited. But we're best friends. They live in London. I didn't want to worry them because, as you know, it is very taxing, and especially for an older generation, you don't really understand the science, or I guess, when the thought of needles going into your body, you just kind of freak out.
No, I totally understand. You're her baby, and she wants her daughter safe,
exactly.
And it is a lot of mystery surrounding it. I'll tell you, I've never seen someone talk about transporting embryos ever on TV.
It's so funny, right? Because you as humans, we don't stay in one place.
Right.
So it was something that we actually
well, you know,
Because you were living in LA.
And I did my treatment in San Francisco. But when we finally got the embryos, it took 5 rounds, like you said, the embryos were in San Francisco. And I was like, I don't want to live in San Francisco. I live in LA. Right. So we transported them. And it's the craziest thing. It's like a private, like,
it's a courier. So we were so curious. I said to the team, I need to see this. So my team, we called around and they found not your company, but a company who showed us how they freeze them and transfer them. So this is literally the process of freezing. Then someone carries them in the backpack through private messenger, a specialized company. They're in the tank. And there they are on the road to destination.
Isn't it wild?
It's wild. So that's the canister.
Yes, it's like a freeze-dry canister. So when we picked them up, when they finally arrived to LA, it was the most...
You had to pick up the embryos?
I had to pick up my kids. Like, I was like, I gotta go pick the kids up, you know? Yeah, because they transport them from one clinic to another clinic.
Right.
So, you know, they transported them to a clinic and we had to go pick them up, and then we took them to the actual doctor who was doing the procedure for us. So I actually have pictures of Pavitt with our frozen embryos, like we were about to put them in the car, and I just remember that drive home, and I'm like,
that's nerve-wracking. So with, I mean, that's not cheap, I'm sure.
No, it's a first class ticket. I mean, it's you know, but you obviously don't want to put them, you know, in economy. You want to put them in first class.
I love
the bougie babies.
A sense of humor about this. But your husband was concerned about, because obviously we talk a lot about the expensive IVF. It's never been lost on me.
Oh my God.
And I did go through a level of guilt at first, because I know that there are a lot of people out there who want children.
Yeah.
Who are not able to shoulder that expense, and not enough companies do that. Now you factor in transporting the embryo.
It just never stops. And then when you have the kids, it's like a whole other level of like expense. But yeah, it's something that we're even, you know, considering now, because we went from LA to New York. And
So are they here in New York?
We're going through the process, actually.
So they went from San Francisco to LA.
Yep.
And now LA to New York.
They're very well traveled. But yeah.
Does that come at a risk of the embryos being damaged?
100%. And everything, I mean, as you know, with IVF, I mean, even just the genetic testing is a risk, because if the temperature drops or the condition's not optimal, you risk losing your babies or your embryos.
You have your beautiful twin boys. I know that you've said publicly you've always wanted a daughter.
Yes.
I would not normally ask this question, but you have the boys.
Yeah.
Why continue?
It's a good question, and I still don't have the answer. I did want a big family, and because it took us so long to get, you know, luckily we had twins, but it took us 3 years to even have them. So I was a little bit behind. I don't know, I just always envisioned my Thanksgiving table with 3 children. So it's one of those things where I know I have the embryo. I would love a girl. She's in there. They grade them, so she's like a 4AA or 4AB, whatever that means.
I don't think I've ever shared this on air, but when I had the eggs, and then they said to me, well, this one is the strongest one.
Yeah.
And boy, were they right.
Yeah.
I was like, they knew, because I have a baby bull. And my mother she jokingly says, that was the strongest egg. That's what they said. I'm like, oh my.
Isn't it funny?
It is a very unique situation.
Yeah.
So you decided to open up out loud. Why?
Because as an Indian woman, and actually as women of color, I don't think the subject is tapped into enough. You know, for Indians, like we're seen as birthing machines in a way. So when you can't, it's a very taboo subject. And I think for me, it was a very, very clear decision that I would share my journey if I can help someone, you know, in the future or down the line. That would be amazing for me. And ironically, when the show aired and that episode came out, I got so many DMs from people that I know, who I consider close friends, that actually admitted that they went through IVF, but they went through it in silence.
Didn't tell anyone.
Didn't tell anyone.
Well, you are a bright spot on the show, and I appreciate you opening up. Thank you so much, and give your mom my love. You can see Jessel and her story unfold on The Real Housewives of New York. New episodes every Tuesday on Bravo.